Hey everybody, this is Cathy, Crowder's Mountain in North Carolina. Hope you all doing well. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to make a beautiful barn quilt over the next couple of days. It's called a bear claw barn quilt. But before we get started on that one, I just had to show you the one that I did for my oldest brother's Christmas present. It's called a Native American Morning Star. Now, he was adopted into the Sioux tribe about, 45, 50 years ago. And so he studies Native American culture and just lives by it, actually. So he really loved this particular barn quilt. And I wanted to show you the colors that I used too and tell you about them a little bit. The background is desert coral. The brown is called elk hound. And the turquoise is calico turquoise. Now, I just really had a lot of fun making that one, but we are going to have a lot of fun making our bear claw. Now, I put the picture up front for you so that you can decide if you want to keep watching and learn how to make this barn quilt, or if you want to make it in different colors. You can think about that as we go along. And so what I've tried to do in this particular video, as always, I try to find a stopping place where you can stop and catch up with me, or stop and come back later when you have more time. But don't think you have to do it all in the 30 minutes that this video takes. So let's get started. We're starting off with, as usual, the 3/4 inch piece of pre-primed plywood. And I get it at Lowe's, and they cut it for me, which is a big blessing. And they'll cut it whatever size you need. It comes in a 4x8 sheet. Okay, let me see if I can get this pattern up here for you. I'll try to take a snapshot of that pattern and put it in the description box if I can, along with the colors of the paint. But this is the bear claw pattern, and I just took a piece of graph paper. I saw a picture and grafted it out on that graph paper. And once I did that, I could transfer that pattern onto my board. So let me tell you what kind of materials I've got here. This is the Kills. I just put it in that squirt bottle. It's easier for me to deal with. But I'll put 2 coats of that on our plywood and let that dry good. And we're going to use the black paint for his claws in the middle of his paw. You can see that on that graph. And then the red is called No More Drama. That's kind of a funny name for a red. And then I have Spirited Yellow that will be in the middle there. And then I have this light turquoise color. I'm just not so sure I'm going to use that or not. It'll either be light turquoise or it'll be gray. At this point in time, I'm not sure. I don't want the turquoise to take away from the actual bear claw. And it may do that. But anyway, you've seen me use my pencils and my eraser, and I always have to have that pearl eraser there. That's the best eraser, really, for any kind of a pencil. But, you know, if you folks are sewers, y'all may already know this, but I didn't. I'd never heard of this before, and I watch YouTube videos too. And I learned something new a couple of weeks ago. Watch this. I am going to draw a little heart on this piece of wood. And you know how you have to draw your pattern on there. All right. Now that's ink, right? Well, look at this. I am going to get my little heat tool out there. And when that ink gets hot, watch it. Now, I've turned it on first. Give it time to heat up. Watch it. See that? It just goes away. Now, if you're a sewer, you probably already knew that those pens existed, but I did not. First time in my life. Now when I draw on that board and draw that pattern and I've got all that marking on there, all I got to do is take that heat gun to get rid of it. Is that not neat? Well, I just got, I got cheap ones because I wasn't sure it's going to work or not. And I think they were like $6.99 for that little pack that I got. And you see, I can erase every bit of those lines because I don't paint over all of them. And sometimes they're kind of hard to cover up. But now, let me show you what I bought. It's I can't even pronounce the brand it is, but I love the pens, but my little pack came all busted up, and that's all right. I'll put them in a baggie or something, but there's the name of it. It's just a heat erasable pens. And when I Googled it on Amazon, there were all kind of them out there. So I'm telling you, that is a neat trick. But I saw another lady making a barn quilt, and that's what she was using. So I knew I had to pass it on to you guys too. Okay, let me show you what else I have. Now, you've seen me using this little heat tool before, but I wanted to mention it to you again. It's just a little heat gun, and that's what I dry my paint with. I put 3 coats of every color. I'll put a coat down thin and then dry it. I'll put another coat down, dry it, and then the third coat and dry it. And that little heat gun is just really good. It doesn't get too hot. And then I'm using this Scotch tape, which is for delicate surfaces. Now, they've got frog tape, too, that's for delicate surfaces as well. I think it's yellow. But I just use that 3/4 inch tape, and that seems to work for me while I'm taping it up. And I mean, it's good tape. You have to press it down now, but it works good. But anyway, on my pattern, I needed 8 blocks. So what I'm doing here, and I've tried to speed this up as much as I can, but still show you what I'm doing. On my pattern, I needed 8 blocks. So I measured 8 into 36, and it came out to 4.5. So I measured 4.5 all the way up one side and 4.5 all the way down the other side. So you have 4.5, and then you had 9, and on and on and on. And just marked my places, and then I took the yardstick and then just drew my lines. So I marked every 4.5 inches. I made a mark all the way around, connected my marks, and now I have 8 blocks up and 8 blocks across. And the next thing we have to do now is just take it one row at a time. Once you get that grid on there, you know you've got a good foundation, and just take it one row at a time. Now, when you get real proficient at it, you can go from one end to the other on some lines, but for now, if you'll just take one row at a time and make your marks and draw that pattern, you're going to come out with a beautiful barn quilt. And it will not be frustrating to you at all. Before you know it, you'll be at the top of your quilt, and you'll have that pattern on there, and you'll be so proud. But you see what I'm doing. My first block was blank. The second one, I needed a diagonal line through it, and I needed to go from left to right. And on here now, on this side, I'm doing from the top to the bottom. You see what I did? You go from right to left and left to right, from the top to the bottom, and pretty soon you got your pattern drawn. Now I'm gonna just try to speed this up, but at the same time, if you've got your pattern, if you could see that, you can see what I'm doing. I'm on the second row now. I'm just going one row at a time. Whatever my pattern says, that's what I'm putting on my big board. Okay, as soon as I get through drawing my pattern on, I'm going to start taping up the actual paw first. In other words, I'm going to do all the red. And I'm going to fast forward that and I'm going to let you see it. I'm going to leave it in the video so that you can see what I'm doing. Again, I'm doing 3 coats of each color. And I typically try to do all the same color first when I can. It's just easier for me. Okay, y'all, this is the next day. My body gave out on me and I had to stop. So this is the next day. And you see I've taped up his actual claws, and I've got that painted as well. And let me tell you, I almost had a disaster right there. And I just started all over. There was something in my paint, and instead of me just stopping, getting it out, fixing it right then, I thought I could just keep painting over it and cover it up. And then I made a mess, paint peeled. I tried to paint over that. It didn't work. So I thought to myself, I'm not ruining this barn quilt. So I got a paint scraper. And see that little paint scraper? I just scraped the whole thing off, those two claws right there. And once I did that, I got back to my smooth surface and did it again. You can always fix your mistakes. It's all right. It's all fun. Don't let it stress you out. You get it done. And while we're on the subject of making boo-boos and mistakes and getting frustrated, don't let it happen. Don't get frustrated. Do you see that big old glob of black that's on there? And then there's some over to the right around the cloth. I'm just a messy painter. I can't for the life of me keep from doing that. So I've just learned I do my best. If I get a big old blob of something in the place it's not supposed to be in, I just paint over it. I wipe it up as soon as I can so it's still flat. But then I just paint over it, and in the end, it's clean and crisp. My lines are sharp, and it's all right. I'm going to paint over that, and it's going to be fine. Okay, I'm going to start working on that star in the middle. That's going to be our yellow. But I'm going to fast forward it so you can see what I'm doing. Again, 3 coats, drying after each coat. Okay, now we're working on finishing up the bear's actual footprint. We've got his claws, and now we're working on the inside of his paw. You see those black boxes? I'm gonna paint those, and then we'll be finished with his actual footprint. And this is where it gets real exciting because you know you're almost finished. You're thinking about the person that you're going to give it to or the person that you're going to make it for. The person that I'm giving this one to actually is the same brother that I gave the Native American Morning Star quilt to. And they actually have a house up in the mountains too. And they get frequent bear visitors up there. So this will make a perfect addition to his mountain home. And by the way, if any of you are interested in hearing some of his stories, he is a great storyteller. You can YouTube search Mountain Man. He has some stories about bees and apple cider and just all kind of great things on there. But again, his name is Mountain Man. That's what he goes by. I'll try to find the link to one of his videos or his YouTube channel and put it on here in the description box. How's that? Because you'll really enjoy listening to him tell his stories. Okay, getting rid of the last pieces of the tape from his claw. Finish that up, and now we have to think about those diamond shapes in the middle of the barn quilt. Do we want to put the turquoise on there, or do we want to use maybe a light gray? But as we think about that, you see the lines that's in the quilt now that is part of the grid? That's that ink. And as soon as I hit it with the heat gun, all of that is going to go away and disappear. It doesn't take much to make me excited. But I just love doing that. All right, here is our soft turquoise. And let me get that gray so I can put it up beside of each other. We got to make a decision here. I just don't want the color taken away from the actual bear claw. Okay, here's the gray. I'm afraid that turquoise will try to outshine the bear claw. I don't know. I think I just need to, I don't know. Wish you guys were here and you could yell at me and tell me what color. I think I'll use gray. I believe that's the safest thing. So I'm going to start taping up my diamond shapes, and I'm going to paint one, put all 3 coats on it before I commit to I think I have 4 more after this. But watch this. Watch this magic with that heat wand and that pen. Look at that. It's just all going away. One thing I did notice too, though, if I don't get it hot enough, I turn back around and I think, well, I thought I erased that, but the ink pops back up. So you have to kind of get it pretty hot to make it go away permanently. And this is the next day, so the ink did stay on that barn quilt overnight. And that might have been why it was popping up, but it went away, so it still works. Yay for us, we figured out something new. Let me get this one painted. Okay, y'all, the only thing we have left now is just to tape up the white and paint that. I'm going to put 3 coats on that as well. And you'll see that I went ahead and decided to use the gray. I think that will help the bear claws actually pop when the quilt's hanging up. But this was really a lot of fun to make. And if you enjoyed this and want to see more, just hit the subscribe button, and then there's a bell for notification, like you'll be notified when I upload another video. And you can come and help and join the fun, help me grow my little baby channel. Take care, y'all. Thank you for joining.